Welcome everybody, I'm Mark Ling for CatchSpouseCheating.com, and I'm here with the Association of British Investigators Private Investigator of the Year for 2005-06, Alf Goldberg. Alf, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, where do I start? I've been a private investigator for over 35 years. I started off working in my late father's detective agency, did various other jobs, and then came back to becoming a private investigator. Because of my inquisitive nature.
Okay, in your time you've caught a lot of cheating spouses, and you're here to give us a bit of information so that people can know whether or not getting a private investigator is right for them, and also whether or not their suspicions seem like it's likely that their spouses are cheating, and a few other tips and tricks.
Okay.
Now there's a fantastic story on your website about a middle-aged man who suspected that his wife was having an affair when it turned out that she was actually planning a surprise birthday party for him. How often do you get to deliver that kind of news?
Well, not enough, unfortunately, because 9 times out of 10 the parties who come and see me, be it the husband or the wife, or indeed now more, we're getting people who are not even married yet. They're actually partners who are living together and are thinking about getting married, have a suspicion that one or other is cheating on each other. The first things that starts them off is usually the mobile phones. Now, your mobile phone goes off and you normally answer the mobile phone in front of your partner, but when you scurry away into another room and hide, then the suspicion starts arousing it from the very beginning. The other thing is when the partner takes the mobile phone up the stairs with them, they start receiving phone calls at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, totally out of the ordinary, text messages being sent, and they're virtually having virtually taking the camera, taking their mobile phones and sleeping with them under their pillows. They then come down and see us and say, this is the scenario, this is what we think is happening, there could be something happening, can you help us? What I would call a peace of mind exercise. Rather than getting into the stages of immediately we want a divorce, let's solve the problem first. Let's see if we can get the people to find out exactly what is happening, and if it is happening, if the wife or the husband or the partners then can confront each other and say, there's the evidence, now do we put it behind us and we get back together again? Because really, I'm not in the divorce business as such. I would far rather a couple who have been together for 10 years, 15 years, 30 years even, can solve this silly problem and get back together and living as husband and wife again. It upsets the families, it upsets their children if they have any, and it also prevents a marriage taking place that should maybe never have taken place, or even starting to take place in the first place.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you raise about what you're saying about people like finding out doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of your marriage, although that'll depend on the circumstances and the kind of person you are. And sometimes you might even, you might find out, like you say, 1 in 10 times you find out that they're not actually cheating. So that's good peace of mind as well.
Peace of mind is an awful lot of, very, very important for people to have peace of mind. Because you sit at home worrying about, is it happening, is it not happening, how do I solve it, how do I find a private investigator? And that's when we built up the website.
Well, when people come to you to help in confirming their suspicions, what kind of evidence are they looking for, and what are the most common signs that somebody's cheating?
Well, as I've already explained, the mobile phone is the first one nowadays. Before, it used to be one of the partners would start saying they're having overtime at work, they're having to go out with their boss on a business meeting, they're having a puncture with their cars, but they're coming in with clean hands. Somebody else changed their tyres, or they're coming in, the wife or the husband, they can smell perfume. Any of these wee things start triggering off, or somebody starts doing their own washing is another one, Mark. Because that's not common.
Yeah,
I don't do my own washing.
I'd have to say, for men to be suddenly doing their own washing, especially if it's late at night.
Correct.
Yeah, there'd be, yeah.
Absolutely.
That would have to arouse suspicion.
Yeah.
Now,
so what I do is I then encourage if they live local enough or they can drive over to our office, I want them to come to the office, we sit down, we discuss their whole case. Sometimes they break down, obviously it's a very, very sensitive issue. We're dealing with people's lives here. It's done on a very, very professional basis and a one-to-one. It's totally goes absolutely nowhere. Confidentiality is first class, cannot beat that. So the people have got to trust me. I've then got to put their trust into me. So I'm like a surgeon. Their lives are in my hands, because at the end of the day I'm going to change their life. Could be for the rest of their lives. They could end up having to sell their house, get divorced and start a whole new life. So it's done very, very carefully.
No, that's fantastic. All right, now you're based in Edinburgh, Scotland, but if people contact you, then am I right in saying that you're the man to go to no matter where they live in the world? If they contact you, you have contacts pretty much everywhere in the world. Like you can, if somebody happens to live somewhere in the United States, if they happen to live in Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, anywhere else.
Absolutely anywhere in the world, Mark.
They contact you, they can talk to you personally.
And I can give them recommendations of who I would recommend as private investigators who are accredited.
Yeah, because it's very important that they go through somebody, I mean, it's much better to go through somebody like you and use someone that's accredited than somebody that's just starting their business or something.
Correct. At the moment, anybody can call themselves a private investigator, because in UK we are not licensed. In other parts of the world they are fully licensed and they can't operate without a license. We are in the process of moving into that area, and I welcome that, because that then takes the cowboy off the street and only licensed investigators can then do the job. They have the competency to do the job. Somebody comes in and they've got to pay me their hard-earned money that they've worked for. They've got to trust me. The same way if they come to me and say, can I have somebody in America, I can then give them somebody who's accredited in America. My good friend and colleague Ronnie McQuilter's in New Zealand, right on your doorstep. That's the recommendations, and you can't beat a personal recommendation rather than guesswork out of a book, and that's why I want people to come to the office as well.
Alright, now
and the office is based in Glasgow.
Sorry, I got the wrong address there when I said Edinburgh.
Although we have a satellite office in Edinburgh, also in Dundee. We cover the whole of Scotland locally.
Fantastic.
With my own investigators. We have our own investigators, and we also use self-employed investigators, because you just don't know where the business is coming, obviously.
Okay, now how can people get in contact with you? What's the best and easiest way?
The easiest way now is on the website, which is www.foxdetectives.co.uk.
Alright, and we'll put that on the screen now so people can go visit it. Well, thanks very much for joining us today and for giving us your time, Alf. That's been fantastic.
My pleasure, I'm delighted you came along.